I'm a bit useless in the kitchen. Now, useless might seem like a strong word, but I'm anxious about feeding people. The very thought of having to prepare dinner just fills me with absolute fear. For example, when I cooked my first meal for my husband when we were first married, spaghetti bolognese, I served it to him and he said, "That's disgusting." And so I said, "You know what? I don't really like to cook." And he said, "But I do." And I said, "Great." And I've never cooked again. So it might seem a little bit odd that one Christmas, many moons ago, I was sitting there talking with my husband, Steve, and saying, I really miss Christmas. We don't have kids, and Christmas by ourselves in Hong Kong just isn't that exciting. I don't go home to Canada for Christmas for very good reasons. There's snow, there's traveling, there's usually children. So I suggested this one year, out of just a mild bit of madness, that we might hold what I'm going to call an orphan's Christmas. Now, this isn't a Christmas for actual orphans. It's just a Christmas for other people around our age, friends of ours, who are by themselves, like I am, at Christmas. And Steve looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll do the cooking." I said, "Okay, fantastic." So by the 15th of December, I had invited 10 extra people into our tiny little flat for Christmas dinner. By December the 16th, I was starting to panic. "What are we going to feed them?" I asked Steve. "Oh, I'll think of something," he says. "No problem." But I've got all these scenarios in my head. For me to cook anything takes ages. I don't know. I was feeling Christmassy, but now not so much. I take a deep breath. "Just trust me," he says. "I know what I'm doing." And I look him straight in the eye and say, "I do. I trust you." And then it's a week before Christmas, and he still has done nothing. And for me to prepare takes like days of, at least 3 days of planning, and then days of shopping, planning the shopping, the cutting of things, and the preparing of things, and the washing of things. So I'm getting a little bit anxious. "What are you going to make for dinner?" I asked Steve. "I don't know," he said. "I haven't really thought about it." "Don't worry about it. It'll be fine." I go out for some coffee with some good girlfriends of mine. They've all got kids. They've all been planning Christmas dinner for ages. They talk about the turkey that they had to order 6 months ago and how there's no roast left in the shops. The shelves are looking pretty bare. And I'm just sitting in the corner, breathing deeply. And I look up the number for KFC delivery and just save it on my phone just in case. And then it's Christmas Eve. And Steve and I are sitting there at the dinner table, eating a lovely meal that he's just cooked. And I say, I know I'm being a bit pushy, but would you like me to do the shopping? You could just give me a list and I could go out right now and do some shopping. The shops are open late night. A couple of days before, we had agreed that to alleviate some of my anxiety, I would make dessert, because despite being absolutely useless at cooking dinner, I can make pie. I'm highly motivated in this sphere. And so I've already made the pie. It's already ready. And I'm saying, I could just go out to the shop and I could pick you something up. Do you want me to do that? I could do that for you. He says, "No, it's fine. I'll get everything fresh tomorrow." Christmas Day. Christmas Day dawns, 6 a.m., I'm up stressed cleaning the house. I put up our tiny little Christmas tree and hang all the little decorations on it that my mother's sent me over the years, and I think to myself, Christmas is a time for caring. Christmas is a time for sharing. I'm ready to care. I'm ready to share. And I'm starting to feel a tiny bit, no, I'm not feeling at all Christmassy. Steve's not up by 9 o'clock, and I start wondering if I could just go to the shop and do some of the shopping, and maybe it'll be okay. But I tell myself, no, I said that I trust him. Deep breaths. At 11:30, Steve gets out of bed. And I'm sitting on the sofa on my hands with my mouth shut because I'm not going to say anything pleasant at this point in time. I'm going out to do the shopping. See you soon. He grabs some recycled bags and he's out the door. I breathe a sigh of relief. In half an hour, he's back. Throws the bags in the kitchen, goes take a shower. Has another coffee. I'm deep breathing in the corner. And I think, while he's doing that, I can unpack the groceries. I can maybe, peel some carrots or wash some potatoes, or surely I could do something helpful, something that will shorten the time that he takes to cook dinner. So I go into the kitchen and I unpack the bags and I unpack carrots and I unpack parsnips and I unpack mushrooms and I unpack potatoes. But there is no meat. There's no main course involved here. And I take a deep breath. There is no Christmas spirit in me right now. I go back out to ask Steve what the hell is going on, only to find him asleep in the bedroom. He's having a nap. I said I trust him. I said I trust him. I said I trust him. At 1 o'clock he wakes up and he picks up the bags again and he goes back out. I'm getting to do the rest of the shopping, honey. I'll be back soon. Okay. And sure enough, 20 minutes later, he comes back with his bags full. He goes into the kitchen. I can hear him turning on the speaker in there with some Christmas music, puts on his apron, and off he goes. Closes the kitchen door. And I just spend the time breathing on the sofa, waiting for our guests to arrive. I've told the guests to come for 4 o'clock for drinks, to eat at 6, so that we could have a little bit of a, get together and chat before we get started. And I just breathe deeply until the first guest arrives at 4:15. By this time, the house is smelling amazing. I mean, really good. First guest arrives and gives me a big, warm, seasonal hug and says, thanks for inviting us over. It's really good to have a home-cooked meal on Christmas. It's such a treat. And you know what? There is a little bit of that Christmas spirit in me. There is a little bit there. I think, these people, we care about them. That's why we invited them. They're nice people. They're not going to care if dinner is terrible or we end up having KFC or it's 4 hours late. It's going to be fine. I pour a glass of wine for both of us. The rest of the guests have arrived by 5:30. Steve hasn't emerged from the kitchen just yet, but all the guests have thanked us and said how pleased they are to be there. And I am feeling a little Christmassy. I am feeling a bit, goodwill to all men. And the kitchen is smelling marvelous. 6:15, we all sit down for dinner. Steve brings out the entree. He's got stuffed mushrooms. He's got crispy bread. He's got a lovely salad. And silence falls down on the table as all the animals are at the trough. All we can hear is moans of pleasure and thank you. Oh, this is so good. Pass me more of that, would you? And I think, it's going to be okay. A little while later, Steve comes out with the main course, a beautiful roast beef that even though this happened more than a decade ago, if I close my eyes and really think about it, I can still taste it. It was succulent and juicy. It had honey roasted parsnips on the side and carrots on the other side and the British style roasted potatoes. Everything with gravy. It was amazing. It was so good. And I finished eating my dinner and I got up to go into the kitchen to only to find that Steve had even taken my apple pie out of the fridge and put it in the oven to warm up, and he'd remembered to pick up the vanilla ice cream that I had forgotten the entire week. And I stood there in the kitchen, shaking my head and laughing at myself and thinking, all that worry, all that stress, all that energy for nothing. Christmas is a time for forgiveness. And Steve did forgive me. In fact, we both had such a nice time at the end that he agreed to cook Christmas dinner for 10 more years.